Hi, I'm Matthew Serfass, and I'll be talking about Accelerated Reader Program, a program my district has been using but will implement a little more generously this coming year. A quick review of literature, and this is an overview. You can return to this later if you like. I began with a little bit of skepticism, but the more I read, the more I discovered that this program, if implemented with fidelity, will yield gains for students. Sometimes marginal gains, oftentimes substantive. An overview of how the program works. It begins with a STAR reading assessment where the teacher or administrator or IT implementing the program finds exactly what grade level the student is at. So for instance, if a student were to score on this STAR test a 4.5, they would be at a fourth grade reading level after 5 months or so of instruction. If it were an 8.0, it would be an 8th grader, etc., etc. This STAR diagnostic also lets the teacher or whoever know what their zone of proximal development is, and then they'll be assigned books that are appropriate to that. Now, I'll be drawing from an article for this description here. The program is owned by a Renaissance Learning Company, which I'll return to later in the presentation, and this is a software program. So it'll take a multiple choice comprehension quiz, and these comprehension quizzes are really the meat of this program. The student will read a book, they'll take a quiz, the quiz will determine whether they comprehended the text, and if they did, they'll score points, and if they didn't, they'll be, go back and reread and take the quiz again, or find a new text that's in the same ZPD, and proceed from there. It is mostly independent. You can see in the picture there, students write on a computer. I'll be speaking a little bit later as to why this might be an attractive feature of the AR. It's not necessarily a teacher-intensive program. It's more a matter of just putting the student in front of a book, putting the student in front of a quiz, putting the student in front of a book, putting it in front of a quiz. And as to why that works, there is some discussion, which I'll return to later again. So a quick review. It is mainly, you find out the student's reading level, you give them books that are part of the program that are appropriate to that reading level, and then they take quizzes that determine whether they comprehend those books that are at their reading level, and it's mostly independent. Is Accelerated Reader trustworthy? It's from a for-profit company, Renaissance Learning, which is valued at $1 billion. And in the literature review, many of the scholars there discuss that since it's used in almost half of the country's schools use this program, that a critical scholarly conversation is disincentivized because of its popularity. Whether that impacts the program's effectiveness is something worth discussing. Most of the literature bears out that you will see a substantive gain in students that use it. So it is trustworthy as long as there's fidelity to the program, which is the concern for when it is implemented in high school. Sometimes it's not implemented with as much fidelity as it is in elementary schools. I mentioned earlier the importance of fidelity to the program, and it's worth mentioning again. If a building principal can really set up teachers, can really be on teachers for making sure the program is implemented consistently, they are likely to see gains. For building leaders, there is to be some sensitivity. There is a concern that poor readers or below grade level readers would be stigmatized by the program. They'll be on very public charts when incentive programs are being implemented. So we don't want to stigmatize those students, and that's something leadership should be thinking about. It keeps tabs on all students who are using the program, so it's great for data collection. If it's a school that tracks, it's great for using as justification for that tracking. And of course, building leaders when designing a schedule or who to hire, for instance, in my school, getting a librarian is useful because then they can organize much of it. Oftentimes, computers are located in the library, so these are all things a building leader should keep in mind. It is very useful to the individual teacher who's using it. It provides an independent reading opportunities where some students who might be on grade level can read something that challenges them. It's an incentive, and any teacher who's really had a chance to implement an incentive-based program in their classroom knows that that can really work. It's a good foundation for a love of reading for a struggling reader, possibly, as long as the teacher can skillfully make connections to maybe the one book that they like from the program and work out. So there needs to be some depth when implementing this program, and it can be used to create a lifelong reader, which is one of the central concerns of most articles about this program and its efficacy. Will it create lifelong readers? No, it won't. It's mostly quizzes, and it's about extrinsic rewards. That intrinsic part is something that the teacher could accomplish. Thank you for enjoying this presentation. Bye.